All right, we are back for another episode of Beyond the Tools, and I'm super excited to welcome our guest, Angie. Angie, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Crystal. Happy to be here.
So, we met at the HRAI conference, and I really loved your history in the trades, and I think it's very important to get a wholesaler perspective because as you and I were chatting, a lot of contractors can view their wholesaler as more of a transactional kind of relationship. But I know what you're really passionate about is working very closely with contractors. So I know we're going to dig really deep into that and how contractors can get more value out of their relationship with wholesalers. But before we do, I always love to hear people's backstory. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about how you even got into this industry.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started in a family wholesale business. My father owned a small wholesale company in my small hometown, Hanover. And while I had no intentions of working in the family business, I ended up after doing some other sales jobs, I ended up applying and working on the counter and order desk in the family business and learning about the products and the ins and outs. And then I continued when he sold the business. I continued with the new company where I went into outside sales and it was an HVAC focused company that bought my father's plumbing and HVAC wholesale company. So that's where I really kind of embraced the HVAC world and wanted to learn as much as I could about HVAC and what makes the HVAC world tick.
Mm.
Well, I did that for through a couple more acquisitions, and then I went and decided to work for a contractor. So I thought I'd try the other side of the counter and see what that world was like. So I was there for a few years and learned a ton and really got a true picture for what the contractor's day-to-day world looks like and how things impact their day-to-day.
Mm.
And it was great, but ideally my heart was in wholesale, so I ended up back in wholesale about 14 years ago. So I've been back in wholesale distribution for 14 years and loving it. And I did some outside sales and I did some counter work, and now I'm a sales manager of a great sales team. So yeah, that's kind of how I landed in it. No, it wasn't my direction, but here I am and I love it.
That's incredible. What would you say is the biggest thing that you took from that time where you were working on the other side of the table?
So I think really kind of seeing and having to take the calls from the homeowner and seeing how, a missed shipment or a wrongly picked item from the wholesaler, now you've got to tell the customer, I'm sorry, we have to reschedule you for the day, or I'm sorry, you're not going to have heat for another day, or, it's that reality, kind of seeing full circle what the impact is. Whereas, oftentimes I think in the wholesaler, they don't necessarily see that unless they're the one with no heat, right?
Yeah. That makes it super real.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. So yeah,
Yeah,
so it gave me an appreciation for the day-to-day struggles and the wins too. I mean, there's a lot of fun things in the contractor world too, being able to um, fit customers with their ideal solutions and that kind of thing. So I think having that experience has enabled me to have a different perspective and to maybe be able to offer some different solutions sometimes. Yeah.
awesome. And I know in our chats, it's been very clear that people and relationships is the ultimate connector for you. So, where does this people first approach come from for you, and how do you lead your day to day work with that in
I
mind?
I think it came originally, I think it came from my dad because he was definitely a people first and still is a people first kind of guy. Um, and I mean, really, it's all about people, right? People are buying things, people are selling things, and it's all about solving problems, and relationships matter, right? You know someone and you can trust them, then you trust that they're going to be able to help you solve problems. So um, I think it's, and people are fun, people are great.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you said that it was really once you got in more into the wholesale side of things with acquisition and everything that you got more into HVAC, and in your various roles you've worked across HVAC, plumbing, electrical, commercial and residential. How do you approach understanding what makes each of the businesses that you work with different?
So I think just asking questions and understanding each contractor is different, not let alone each segment of the industries. Everybody's got a different nuance to their business and a different kind of strategy and focus. And I think just asking questions and making sure you understand what's important to them and how they view where they're going and what their plans are is key to making sure that you understand exactly, where to go next.
Yeah, it makes sense. And now that you're leading a team, how does that work with instilling some of those things that you've learned from both, having that people focus as well as really getting to know the contractors that you're serving in their businesses?
So we definitely we promote, our company. One of our main goals and our mission is to be a partner to our customers, and we instill that in our sales teams, and making sure that you're not just going out there selling, you're not just trying to hit your number, you're not just going out and trying to talk to as many people as you can. You're going out there trying to offer your customer value. You're trying to um, find out what's important to them. So we ask a lot of questions, and we do some sales training, and when I when I travel with the reps, we talk in the car, and what's the purpose of your call? What value are you offering the customer today? And it's sometimes it is a check-in, and sometimes the customers are expecting that, they want to check in, but there has to be meat on the bone, and that's it's evolved. When I think about when I started in sales, it was that typical, I'm here every Tuesday at 3 o'clock, or I'm here every Monday at 4, or whatever it was. And they expected that, and they would save up orders, and give you the order when you were there once a week or once every 2 weeks. And it's just evolved. It's so much faster now. So we need to find different ways to offer value for customers to see us. And if we are asking of their time, then it's important that we offer something in return besides
Hmm.
just our beautiful faces.
Yeah.
So we have brainstorming sessions, and we get everybody to share, like, what did you do, and it just kind of gets them thinking value minded.
Hmm. Yeah. So I'd love to dig into that a little bit more because obviously a lot of contractors are struggling right now. I know that most of your day to day is in Ontario, but of course, we're seeing those trends across Canada and the US as well. So, I guess specifically just to better understand what's happening in the industry right now, what is it that you're hearing from contractors, and what are some of the challenges that they're facing right now?
Definitely, most contractors are having a hard time finding staff, finding licensed tradespeople. There isn't a sales rep on my team that doesn't get asked weekly by various different customers, hey, do you know anybody looking uh, to make a move, or do you know anybody who's, coming to the area, or they're always looking, and there just doesn't seem to be enough tradespeople around. So I would say that's number one challenge. Um, Secondly, I would say the unstable pricing um, in the market right now, with what's going on between us and our neighbors down south has created a lot of uncertainty and inability to price things and be confident that that's going to hold until you need the product. So I think that's another challenge.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I mean, obviously, in some cases, a lot of those things are external factors that you can't do much about. But I'm curious, I guess, in approaching those relationships and knowing that you guys are always trying to provide more value, what are some of the ways that you're helping contractors deal with some of the challenges that they're facing right now?
So we try not to get too involved in, encouraging contractors or tradespeople to leave one contractor and go to another. That's definitely not our place. But if ever we hear that somebody's downsizing or maybe somebody's slow, I mean, the areas, everybody's got kind of a different focus, and so sometimes we try and partner contractors together. So if one contractor has a lull where he's maybe got some work booked out, but it's not going to start for a couple of months, he's got to keep his guys busy, so he can't let them can't let them go or lay them off. He's got to keep them busy. Oftentimes there's somebody who's got a lot of work and is looking for people, so they can trade off. We partner them together and say, hey, maybe you guys can sub from each other or whatever, and offer some solutions that way. So it's not a permanent solution, but oftentimes it gets them out of a bind. And those relationships are often long, they go on for a long time, and they end up covering off each other's vacations or covering off different things back and forth. So that's actually happened a lot where we've offered an introduction.
So a bit of a matchmaker at times.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, that's great.
As for the
And
pricing side, sorry,
yeah.
as for the pricing side, I mean, we've started coming up with some creative ways to, kind of, if we need 12 months before something is gonna, we before a product is going to be required, we often will try and negotiate with a vendor to give us an extension. And then we'll take it and sit for a bit, and then the contractor can take it and sit for a bit. And then it's just everybody takes a little piece of the time, and nobody's getting hit with the increase or the volatility, and nobody's sitting on it for long enough that the accountants are going to get upset with inventory sitting for too long.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you're really able to make things a lot more steady as opposed to this, huge change all of a sudden.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Great. And I know when we were chatting the other day, you were talking about a lot of times, when it seems like demand is shrinking, competition is going up, what a lot of contractors end up doing is dropping their pricing. What is your take on that approach?
I think everybody knows their own business better than anybody else, but I also think that there's different perspectives on and different ways you can do things. I think trying to ensure and educate your customers that your your company and the service that you offer is of value. And while there's less business out there potentially, and others are maybe dropping their price, I think it's important that, and oftentimes we try to help our customers to educate their customers on the value, selling their value, right? And we try and sell our value, right? We aren't just a supplier, and our customers aren't just contractors, right? They're providing comfort solutions for their customers. So, that reliability and that trust, that's worth something. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so you're doing some light matchmaking. You guys are certainly advising in terms of, instead of just focusing on dropping prices, how can you add more value to the customer? How can you be more of a consultant in that regard, and then also helping with knowing that pricing changes are coming and being able to smooth some of those things out. I mean, I think for a lot of people listening, these are probably not things that they're necessarily expecting of their wholesaler. So I'm curious, I guess, for you, if with our contractors listening right now who aren't approaching their relationships this way, what would you say that they should be expecting and asking for from their wholesalers?
yeah, I think some contractors definitely are aware of the value that their wholesale partners, and they do view them as a partner. Others are viewing them as simply a transactional supplier, and I think allowing the wholesale sales rep some time and ask them some questions. What value can you offer me? And simply ask, what can you bring to the table that maybe somebody else can't? And I mean, if it's simply a cheaper price, or a different product, or then you decide whether that's enough for you. But I think in wholesale, it's important that, service and delivery and having inventory, and that's all always been important. But those lean a little bit more on the transactional. But I think thinking outside the box, asking your wholesale sales rep or branch manager, whoever you deal with, you know, how can you help me and us grow together? And for I mean, I talked about some of the ways that we have provided value, and some of the things that we help our contractors with. Ideally, a wholesale rep should be asking the questions to make sure that they understand, because I could offer something to somebody that doesn't fit. It might have worked for somebody else, but it might not fit this other contractor solution. So ultimately, we need to be asking the questions and understanding what's important and what's the scenario in order to be able to come up with a solution that could help and add.
Yeah, makes sense. So really proactively having the conversation, and ideally your wholesaler rep is doing that. But if not, as a contractor, going to them and saying, hey, listening, I'm struggling right now, or I'm looking to grow to make things better. I'm looking at my options here. What else can you do for me? How do we make this more of a partnership where we can grow together?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And I know that co-op funding is something that we have, regular conversations with our clients about, and that oftentimes it's kind of serially underutilized. How does co-op funding actually work, and how do you see your contractors partner with you to be able to run stronger campaigns?
So I can't speak for every company's co-op programs, but generally speaking, most HVAC equipment programs have a feature where it includes co-op funds. It's generally generated by, as a percentage of the number of dollars spent on that equipment. And it's supposed to be used for the contractor to promote their business, marketing, whether they get, apparel with their company and the brand of equipment on it, or whether they run advertisements, or whether they do online ads, or hire reflective marketing to help them. That's the kind of thing that those co-op funds are for. They're there for the contractor to use to promote their business, specifically for the line that they're using, whatever equipment brand that might be. There are generally stipulations around uh, ensuring that it's not just the company, not just the contractor company. They're usually, the equipment brand needs to be in the advertising and whatnot. But I mean, it's seriously underutilized. There are a ton of contractors that money's sitting there and they don't use it. So it's basically free money. You've earned it. So why not use it? And if I also think there's a lot of HVAC companies that necessarily, I mean, their forte is HVAC and providing comfort solutions for their homeowners and business owners. Um, maybe they don't have a marketing professional. Maybe they don't have a marketing mind, but there's options out there where they can still utilize and talk to somebody about how to go to market and how to grow their sales, and maybe hit demographics they're not. Like, a lot of small towns and even cities rely on word of mouth, but I mean, there's new people moving into neighborhoods all over the province, and um, there's word of mouth isn't always the best way. And I think that there's tons of people that could be reached by different. So, I mean, use the co-op funds. It's there. That's what it's for. So, and
Yeah.
we often, we if people come to us and say, I'd like to do this, and it's not really listed in the parameters. If it makes sense and it fits, then why not?
And has that been your experience in that a lot of times contractors just aren't sure what to do with the funding, or what do you see as the barriers to them utilizing those co-op funds more?
Yeah, I think they see some see it as kind of, it's an administrative thing, and that, I mean, aside from the billing and the ordering and that kind of thing, it's just another admin thing that they don't have time to deal with, and they don't feel necessarily that it's a priority, or they just don't have that marketing mindset. A lot of them who have, especially if it's a long standing business that's been in business for a number of years, they've probably thrived on word of mouth. But I mean, our next generations are not necessarily, they're not picking things the same way. If mom and dad always used one company, and it's been a long time since you've dealt with them, or you've lived at home, maybe somebody who's coming up on your IG feed is who you, oh yeah, I'll use them. So it's a different, we need to look at things differently.
Yeah, I think that's such a valuable point, especially, as you said, sometimes in smaller markets. And if you own a company that's been around a while, you just kind of assume, hey, everybody knows who I am. But
Yeah,
yeah, you're absolutely right. Whether it's new generations or new people moving to the area, there's a lot of untapped market. And
definitely.
this is one really great way to tap into that with money you can utilize from your wholesaler partner.
Hmm. Yeah, it's there for that reason. So whether it's social media or whatever it is, but I mean, having if you aren't, we can certainly provide some ideas, but the money is there, and that's what it's for, is to grow the brand and grow your business.
Amazing. So I know we've covered a lot here in terms of how wholesalers can really act as more of a partner. If you could leave contractors with just one last words of wisdom when it comes to their relationship with wholesalers, what would you like to leave them with?
I think just ask your wholesaler what they can do for you, outside of the day-to-day shipping product. And I think just asking and really considering who works for you. The wholesaler should almost be an extension of your business, your an extension of your staff. Your wholesaler should work for you. And does your wholesale partner work for you, or are they simply going through the motion?
Yeah, those are the valuable conversations to have, especially if you are going through some challenges right now. It's time to get creative and it's time to leverage the partnerships that you have. And I love that as a wholesaler, that's your mindset of really serving those contractors first. So, Angi, for our listeners, I'm sure they're going to want to learn more about you. So, what's the best way that they can connect with you?
They can reach me on LinkedIn, Angi Becker. My email is abecker@desco.ca, and I'm available. Let's chat.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Angi. And we'll post those links to your LinkedIn and your email and everything in our show notes as well. So if you're listening on audio only, definitely go to beyondthetoolspodcast.com to grab that. And otherwise, Angi, I really appreciate you being on the show. I think that you've really given us a different way at looking at wholesaler relationships. So thank you for sharing your perspective.
Thanks, Krystal. It's been fun. I wasn't sure at first, but it's been great. So I appreciate the opportunity, and as always, it's great talking with you.
Thank you, Angi.